Now, this story, the South Africa Food Sovereignty Campaign and its alliance have given Parliament until next year to deliberate and adopt a climate justice charter. Among issues raised in the charter include hunger, thirst, pollution and climate harm. Well, they've hosted a peaceful march across the country on World Food Day, which was the 16th of October last Friday, calling on government to address the issues. Let's speak now to the chairperson of the Sovereignty Campaign, Vishwas Satgar. Vishwas, good morning and thank you very much for your time. Just before we went on air, you told me off air that on Friday, that's when you engaged with Parliament, that's when you handed over this memorandum and where you are asking Parliament to adopt a climate justice charter. How did the meeting go on Friday? Can we start there?
Well, we set a scene for the meeting. We had over 68 local actions across the country led by communities and young people. They read poetry, they had marches, they had pickets, they dramatized some of the issues, etc. That created a very important climate, and we brought their voices into the assembly with Parliament. We were convened online, and of course the Speaker of Parliament deployed the Deputy Speaker to join us, Lechisa Tsunoli. So he was part of the engagement, and he received 3 documents from us. The first is a climate science document prepared by our leading climate scientists, and that document does raise the alarm bell very loud. It translates the global science into the South African context. We are heating at twice the global average. And within the next decade, we are facing dramatic changes in terms of temperature increase, possibly a 3-degree overshoot for us, which will be catastrophic. The second document that we shared was the Climate Justice Charter itself. This comes out of 6 years of campaigning during the worst drought in our country. 2 years we had intensive dialogues with constituencies across society, and we captured what they think are the crucial, substantive, systemic transformations that have to happen to mitigate carbon emissions, but also build the adaptive systems that we need to handle extreme weather shocks that are going to come with climate. The third document that we handed over to Parliament was a memorandum of demands, it basically expressing what we want to end hunger, thirst, pollution and climate harm.
And how were all of these received, and how was the discussion? Did you get a sense that there's an understanding, as you said in your press release, that country cannot continue as if it's business as usual? Did they get that sense, that understanding?
Well, there's 3 issues here. The one is that we engaged at a moment when the state president unveiled his economic recovery plan. And we are completely at odds with that recovery plan, actually. The plan that is unveiled by the president is actually anti-climate justice, in our view. The plan calls for more oil and gas extraction. Given climate science and the urgency, this is quite a slap in the face of climate justice. It calls for more globalized agriculture, which has failed our society before the drought, and now during COVID-19. It's not the future for us. It calls for fast-tracking mining and water licenses, etc., which have been disastrous and have had negative health consequences for millions of people in South Africa for decades. So we really don't believe that the economic plan unveiled by the president takes us closer to a just transition and to climate justice. There's nothing in there about the renewable energy transition that we need towards community and socially owned. So that was, if you like, a subtext for this engagement. The second important issue was that the deputy speaker who engaged with us is also as concerned, according to his pronouncements, and he is committed to convening a committee with us to pilot this charter through Parliament. Now, we don't know what this means. We are claiming our rights as per Section 234 of the South African Constitution, which provides for charters to be adopted by Parliament. But it's not clear what procedure will be applied, etc. So from our side, we are saying we are just going to keep the pressure on. We cannot wait for a year or 2 years or 3 years. We're giving Parliament 1 year to deliberate and engage. We will be engaged in rolling action We have 220 organizations that have endorsed this charter, and it is growing in number. We have an online petition, and we are planning to be on the streets, beating the drum during local government elections, Earth Day, May Day, back to World Food Day. The third point to make is that we had opposition parties in the conversation. We actually invited the top 4 parties in our parliament to come and engage with us on the urgency of climate. All 4 parties did not come.
And those so which parties besides the DA and the EFF, who would the other 2 be? Just remind us, will it be Freedom Front Plus as well?
Freedom Front Plus and the ANC. And so, it was quite shocking, and it just revealed how disconnected our mainstream political parties are from where the concerns of society are at.
So none, sorry, just to clarify, Vishwas, so none of the political parties were there, but who was there then?
Right. So in the end, we did have a debate, and we had a debate with 3 parties that confirmed and came through. One was the Inkatha Freedom Party, the other was the ATM, and the third was a Muslim party in parliament.
So the governing party, the official opposition, the third largest party and the fourth largest party declined your invitation, didn't show up. That should be worrisome.
It is extremely worrisome. I mean, it's happening, well, it seems like they all are in disarray. I mean, members of the ANC are marching on their headquarters. The EFF goes to one part of our country to foment a race war. And I suppose the other parties don't have answers to these questions. It has been really shocking trying to reach these parties. Outside of the bigger parties, most parties don't have proper public accessible information, proper web pages or contact information, etc. And it takes about 30 to 40,000 votes to get a parliamentarian into parliament. They earn over R1 million. And I must say, we are all wondering what they are doing in parliament.
So now,
this is going to be a
your
test for all of us.
Yes, it's going to be a test, including for yourself. But how are you then planning to ensure that you're rolling, what you're calling in your press release, a rolling mass action by your current 220 organizations will have impact in Parliament, that all political parties will then be engaged properly and respond accordingly, because you want in a year's time to go back and say, do we have this climate justice charter or not?
So there's 2 legs to this. I mean, the one is a legal leg, and we are looking at the legalities around even interdicting Parliament if there isn't a clear process and if there isn't a clear commitment to getting this charter adopted. We do believe that this is very, very important, because a 1 degree Celsius increase in planetary temperature, which happened in 2015, has dramatically transformed our world. None of the institutions that we have in society are ready for what is coming with global warming. So this is very, very crucial for us. So we're considering a legal plank, but again, it'll be subject to the dialogue we have with Parliament, the response of the Speaker's office, and we'll take it from there. The other leg, of course, is that we want the charter to travel through society. And we've built up a lot of momentum, and we're going to deepen that momentum. We want institutions in society to adopt this charter. We even want ENCA to adopt the charter. We want religious organizations to adopt the charter, trade unions to adopt the charter, so that all of society is seized with this issue. The next part of that, of course, is to translate the charter into policies. Every one of our institutions are implicated in the climate crisis. I mean, right now, even this interview is probably done on carbon-based energy, okay? So we're going to have conversations in our workplaces about how do we decarbonize? How do we leave coal-based and gas-based and oil-based energy behind? So that's the next step for us,
okay.
And that's to develop the tools for those conversations to happen.
We'll have to track this one as it develops, because your charter, if it's focusing on climate justice, it means it addresses issues around hunger, poverty, thirst, pollution, and of course harm to the environment. Thank you very much for that feedback of your engagement with Parliament on Friday. That's Vishwas Satgar. He's the chair, the head of the South African Food Sovereignty Campaign.